I'm Stephen Jack Putella.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, and this is the Land Academy weekly member call. Welcome. Glad to see you all. I see questions getting loaded up here. We are live on a few areas, platforms for people to kind of learn more about us and to answer a question. And then we're going to close it up here probably about 15 minutes from now, 10, 15 minutes from now, we'll close it up and continue on with our regular member call where we're going to review some deals and some way more in-depth questions. But glad you're here. Members, this is not in Zoom live, so your questions and your properties that you're putting in there for us to review, nobody but you can see that.
Load them up.
So load those up. This is awesome. So this is who we are. We're still on the road, as you can see. We are still in the kind of Pacific Northwest. This is, as you can tell, we've been hanging out up here, hanging out. We are land people. It's interesting. It sure helps, don't you think, in our world that if you love land, you don't get bored driving around looking at stuff. It really helps.
In the decades that I've been doing this is the first time I've done it in person, and it's a
Yeah.
blast.
Oh yeah. We're working on some new stuff for Career Path, and I'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. But first, I want to answer a question that was sent in to on from one of our recent weeks live to the public. This question was posed to us, so we wanted to answer it here for everyone. So, how do you find real estate agents and title companies for land deals?
So, and before you answer this, because I know you're an expert at it, Joe, can you explain why we need real estate agents and title companies and land deals? I thought we were like going rogue and buying these properties on our own.
Not necessarily. So, it depends. Nowadays, let's just say this. The deals that I'm doing are bigger dollar amounts, and the
You know
people
what?
that are going to use them.
Well,
Well, you know what? You
I'll explain.
obviously have the answer, so why don't you answer that and then pivot back to me?
Here's the deal. You've heard if you're familiar with our show and familiar with the process about how to, buy and how we buy and sell real estate successfully, and the members of Land Academy do. We send out a ton of mail. We utilize data to make decisions. So we decide where to send mail. It's a very methodical process to vet the zip codes and counties that where we decide to send mail. And then we purchase the properties by sending out a massive mail campaigns, and they come back and we acquire the properties. We need a title agent to do that. There's no real estate agent involved on the acquisition side.
Mhm.
This question is about how do you find real estate agents once you purchase the property and you mark it up and resell it?
Right, just on the sell side. Exactly. And to answer that question, why am I even using, especially using real estate agents on the sell side? Well, if you're doing it right and you're doing it like what we do, these are higher dollar amount items and they are worthy of agents, A, and B, I don't want to do the work. When I'm selling something more than $100,000, which I usually am now, agents are going to get excited about that commission. And there's a lot of really good land focused agents. Where do I find them? Same, all over the place. I use LandWatch, I use Zillow, I use Realtor. It's more and more common to find vacant land without a structure on it, nothing on it, just on the MLS. It's so nice. It wasn't that way 10, 15
Right.
years ago. Even 5 years ago, it wasn't as much, but now it is. So when you're looking on Zillow, you may not even realize this, but one of the options is just land only. You can turn off houses, turn off all the other condos and townhomes, uncheck all those boxes, only check land, and then you could find those agents that are selling properties in the areas that you want to work with. So that's how you find them. And then for title companies, I will often use like I'll once I kind of attach myself to an agent, I find someone that I jive with, um, then I might use them like say, hey, by the way, do you have a title company that you love in the area who closes fast? Who do you like? Use them as a word of mouth. Otherwise, I'll just Google title company and it's in the area of the property, not where you are, not where the seller is. It's where the county and the area of the property is where you want to have a title agent. And I'll call a couple and screen them. Hey, how well do they answer the phone, answer my questions? How fast can they close? How cheap are they? Do they offer me investor rates? Things like that.
Yep.
Good.
Hey, we but these business we have is bifurcated. You're supposed to theoretically spend half the time buying the property, half the time selling it.
Yep.
If you can outsource an entire half portion of your business,
like
somebody
selling.
who's theoretically local and is more knowledgeable about you are, more knowledgeable than you are about the property locally and all of that. Why not?
Yeah.
6% or even 10% is cheap
Mm,
when you think about outsourcing half of your business. So
good
it's an
point.
important part of what we do.
You bake it into the deal. So you know you're going to make that much, you can afford it. Is there anything specific I should be looking out or watching for? It's really, uh, I never do more than a 6-month agreement when I'm doing an agent. And how well do you connect? Are you on the same page? Do they know how to write a good listing and get good photos and drone shots and that kind of thing? It's easy to spot. Now we're going to move on. This is just a little bit of housekeeping. Oh, we have a question from YouTube. Excuse me. So, thank you, team, for putting this in here. If a residential lot has has maybe an easement issue with a neighbor, and the county survey is decades outdated, would I pay to get a survey or just flip and disclose that it might have this? What do you think?
I think this is an incredibly good question. This is a real world situation that
Mm,
happens. In fact, Jill and I are involved in a situation like this right now. Not the first time it's happened to us, and it's not the last time. Yes, the answer is, depending on the situation, I probably would just purchase it and resell it. And because you know about it, some form of disclosure is very appropriate.
I like that.
Is it legally required? I don't think so,
Mm-mm.
but I think it's very, very appropriate for you to say, check the lot lines, please. These are lot lines are, how many times you see a listing where it says the lot lines are here for reference? You got to validate it or make sure that you are okay with
I
the
do see that a lot now.
surveys are expensive and time consuming, and they're grossly overused, in my opinion.
Exactly. But if you can get your hands on any documents or things to support it, I would provide that though too. Like, here's what I can find. Here's what was recorded 20 years ago, such as even if it's outdated, this is what I've got to help people. Wow, you guys are loading up the
Yeah,
questions.
great
This is
questions.
amazing. So back to this is great and thank you. So you got apparently you can put questions in YouTube and where Facebook, I guess wherever you're watching, and maybe my team will grab them and see them. So
Yeah,
that's really cool. All right. So members, you're using the Q&A and the chat. You guys use it perfect. You got this. And of course, you know how our Would You Do This Deal format. So for anybody not knowing too what this is, hey, if you want to quick screenshot this, these are the 8 A's. These are our due diligence A's and how we assess property to make sure that we're making good acquisition decisions. This week we have a bunch coming up. So normal podcast. Now we're back to 5 days a week. Hope you love it, because boy, I do. Just kidding. It's actually really only added like a half hour to our week to break it up like that. And
it's fun.
and
I
I
think it's
actually
fun.
I do think it's better. It's
I,
easier for me to then, you know, touch on 5 different things, and then as you notice, sometimes we'll go long and go short. We don't have to try to force anything, so it's
I
really
like
good.
doing the podcast.
I know you do.
Jill likes talking to sellers.
I just like talking. It is. I love talking to you and here I need the feedback back. That's part of it. On the
Yeah.
podcast, I don't have the feedback. Even though here it's a chat, I get some feedback and it helps me. All right, we have group coaching next week. We have our regular pro office hours. And of course, a week from today is our weekly member webinar. Career Path. Last little blast about Career Path 10 because it's coming up. The dates aren't in here though, I noticed, but so I'll have to get those. You can go to Land Academy and go to programs and see Career Path and see the dates. It starts October 28th. Just a real quick little thing you can see. Career Path is our mastermind. It's an 8-week live Zoom mastermind. None of it is recorded. Zero pre-recorded, I should say that. Sometimes you don't know that too. If you sat down sometimes to a webinar, you're like, shoot, I don't know if they're really answering my question. I'm not sure if it's live or not.
This is
Oh,
our
it's live.
Big Dog week course
Yeah,
that we
big
do
dog.
twice a year
Oh,
for 20 people only. It fills up every single time. There's discounts that apply now, but not at the end.
I'll tell you.
And it fills up every single time. So
Well, there's still some stuff. So discounts at the end sometimes. You're right. Sometimes we'll do some special things like with the personal coaching and Land Academy Pro and things like that. But basically, Career Path 10, like Jack said, it's the Land Academy Mastermind. So we have all levels. We have the self-study, we have personal coaching, and then this is up here. That's Career Path. I do two a year. We do two a year. And it's starting really soon. So here's you can quickly thumb through, just see what this is, what's going on. You might even get the recording of a live thing I did earlier this week, last week. I can't remember. I think it was this week. More of a deep dive on that and answered questions. So reminder, if you're an alumni, we do still have special offers for you. You should have got an email when I did the live already. If you didn't get one, of course, send a note to support at Land Academy. If you're an active Land Academy member, same thing. There's some special stuff in there for you. Check your email, send a note if you didn't get anything. And then if you're not even a member, like, well, shoot, do I have to be a member or alumni to go to this? You don't. Just schedule a call. Go to landacademy.com/mastermind. There's a calendar there. My team has really opened up a lot of time this week to answer your questions slash screen you to make sure you're a good fit and move you forward to career path. So now we're gonna get to Jack's part.
Let's take a look at a deal.
Some real estate news and then we're gonna switch to the closed member part.
Every single week on Thursday, we've had this closed call for members for years. And I randomly today, I've incorporated this into our Thursday call because we have it open to the public in the beginning. I randomly chose a property today that when I go to this is an account dedicated for the Thursday call. And I just pick a property. I picked the one in Michigan. This time, randomly before the show. And it's this property, which somebody brought up in 2002-ish. And the property is an infill lot in Michigan. I love these types of infill lots. Michigan up in northern Michigan is pretty popular, and it's got structure, properties that are next to it, so real easy to value. And so when you look up the address, I
Is
remember
this
this deal from,
an exercise in pricing?
yeah, it's
Okay, got
just, this is what we do on our Thursday call.
Okay.
And we do it for our members when they send mail out, get deals back, and they throw it up. There's several in there now. The public can't see them, but there's several in there because our members are waiting for Jill and I to do exactly what I'm doing now on this type of property.
Kind of like, would you do this deal? Here it is. What should I do? Would you buy it? I like it. Yeah.
This member, I don't remember their name. They sent mail out. This property came back for I think it was a buy for 9,000, and they
Mhm.
ultimately sold it for 24,000. And you can see that through the if you look it up, you can see it through
Oh,
the
there you go.
price history. But what we would do in this property is it would come in, we would talk about it. They would run through the 8 A's like Jill showed you earlier in the pre-presentation, and they would ask us, should I do this deal? And to which I said, of course. And to which we said yes, because the properties are, this property's recently sold for $100,000. And the buy side on this was 9,000, and it's on the corner. Here's a property that sold for 250. 300. This is a no-brainer Land Academy deal. Not buy for 9, sell for 25.
Mm-hmm.
And adjacent properties, completed homes are on the low end 100,000 and on the high end 250. So this is a real good example of what can happen after you go through the training and get yourself immersed into the Land Academy community. Buy for 9, sell for 25 is very realistic. Textbook Land Academy deal.
Thanks.
All right, on to news. I can tell you there's not a heck of a lot of new news going on in real estate right now. And I don't think that's such a bad thing.
I'm glad we got October numbers though. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
They caught up.
It's October 17th. This is October 5, a couple weeks old. Every week we look at this. What I'm looking for is these weekly trends, looking for strange things that could potentially happen in the weekly trend. And then, of course, the year over year number. These are flat. This is pretty much zero, in my opinion. I'm looking for some weird thing to happen, like it might be plus 10%. And that's a real good indication that the trends in real estate are moving in some direction, meaning I, as a business owner in real estate, need to make some management decisions to keep up or to manipulate it, take advantage of it. Last week, we had a 2% increase in new listings, the number of new listings, and we had 8% and 8% year over year.
So it
And
looks
then
like it
this
was
week
crazy
ended.
that week and then it corrected.
I don't know,
That's what it looks like.
but
Yeah.
I don't care about it because it's trending. The trend is pretty flat.
Yeah.
And then active listings, same thing. There's 30% more active properties on the market than there was last year.
If this number stayed low again, then would you be worried?
Yes,
Okay, that's it.
that's absolutely
So
right.
you guys can't see that. I'm going to highlight this. If this 8% was also low here and we see like, and we're going to see if it stays down there again, then we're going to maybe start, you know, looking at things differently. So, but
Again,
okay,
we look at this every week and we look at it. It's probably the time that most of our regular members in Land Academy go get a Coke or something
probably.
because it's just not that fun,
Well,
but we need to do it.
you need to pay attention. What on the off chance I leave my desk and it's something big? I would not risk that.
Well, then you come
I
back to
would
your
not
desk,
risk,
everything's on fire.
Jack, I don't miss anything you say.
Oh, right.
And I write it all down.
We have several new people that have joined us in the last 30 days. And I don't want to forget about these ever-present resources that I use all the time, but probably don't talk about enough. And the September numbers just came out. So please look through this. I put it in the chat. There's a ton of really interesting information. You can't really see this because it's really small. But these are years. This is active listing count and how it's changed over the years. And you can see where everything goes south is when COVID was. And now you can see the brown number here is 2024, and it's all starting to catch back up. And here you can see the reason I pulled this up today is you can see seasonality. Jill and I are this year, for the first time really in my career, are seriously taking advantage of seasonality. We're buying properties that are coming off properties that are kind of stale on the market that haven't sold during this season. And Jill's going back and really convincing them if they want to sell their property to sell it for cash, sell it for us, and it's working. And our plan is to resell it in the spring. And because we both cut our teeth in real estate in Arizona, there just isn't a lot of seasonality here like there are in most other markets in the country. This is deep, this resource. I can't go over it all because it takes too much time. It just goes on and on and on, and they produce it and then it gets regional and really micro to each MSA. So I'm encouraging you to make this part of your weekly research, hopefully. And then for me, it's part of my decision making when we go into a new market. I really look at if we're going to go into the Cincinnati, Ohio market, I start to dig in some of these resources and take a look.
Are we going into the Cincinnati, Ohio market?
No,
Okay.
and neither should you.
I'm like, I just make,
That's a good question.
thank you. You pulled that out of thin air. I'm like, should I be worried? All right. I have a helmet somewhere.
Mortgage rates. Oh, wrong slide. I do not understand why mortgage rates continue to go up.
What? Why? Do I know?
If you understand or anybody in our group understands, please explain it to me. The Fed reduced the prime rate by 0.5% last month in September. This is October 3rd, so the beginning of this month at about 6.25%. You can see that in the blue, the number there. Almost 6.7% today.
Mm.
So this is not the way. Raising interest rates or increasing interest rates for whatever reason is not the way to get rid of old inventory on the market.
True.
It's the opposite. It
True
has the
that.
opposite effect. So there's a lot of property on the market. There has been for, geez, almost a year. You should be sending out mail at 20% ish of retail value, like we talk about, and hammering people on the prices. Just hammering them because they don't have another option to sell their property. There's so much
True.
stale property on the market.
And we have the cash. We don't need the financing. We don't care about it.
Yeah.
That carries a lot of weight when you're talking to a seller. Like I have the cash set aside. You have $80,000 set aside? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk to you.
Yeah. That's it. That's it for news.
Thank you. All right. Now we're jumping into the remember part here.
Thank you, public. We're gonna look at
Yeah.
our members deals.
Okay.